Hey everyone, welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from the Schoolbook. If you're looking at the bearded one, that means it's Monday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, 2 out in Hawaii. That's going to be important for tonight. 6 a.m. tomorrow morning out in Indonesia, and anywhere between 9 a.m. and noon tomorrow out in Australia. So welcome to the show. My name's Tom Springer. If you have never met me before, welcome. If you have seen me before, welcome back. As always, I do have on a guest tonight. And I'm not waiting around because I'm going to bring him in right away. He was supposed to be on my show a couple weeks ago, but I was sick with vertigo, so we were able to get him back on the show. So everyone go ahead and welcome in Joe Punohu. What's up, Joe? How you doing, brother?
Hey, how's it?
Good.
Good afternoon.
So you got to tell me, she keeps telling me I'm saying this okay, but it's Uilani Ku'ule. So,
perfect, my brother. Uilani Ku'ule.
She's saying hello. How you doing there? Everyone else knows her as Mary. So
yeah.
yeah. So she's saying aloha, Joe. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
How's it, Uilani?
Joe, welcome to the show. We were supposed to do this a couple weeks back, but I was sick with vertigo. Everything in my world was spinning, so that was not a good thing. Everything's pretty much straightened out now, so now I can see straight and I can talk without falling over. All that good stuff. Let's see who else is popping in. Hey, Mr. Stewart saying hello to both of us. How you doing, brother? What's going on, Stewart? How you seeing?
Hey,
Janet
Stewart. How's it?
My wonderful wife is popping in to say hi to you as well. So there's
hey, Nicole. Hey, Janet. How's it? Aloha.
So I always like to tell people how we met initially. And I kind of ran into you through Facebook, like I've met a lot of other people. You popped up to me as a friend request at one point, and I started looking at your page. And then we had a mutual friend, and talking to her, she was like, "Yeah, he's a great guy. You should really go out and talk to him." So I went ahead and friend requested you, and then we've been talking ever since. So pretty wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and I like what you do. I'm going to go ahead and advertise this right off the back. So people will see this all day. You do run a site called Hawaiian Hauntings right here underneath me. And I went out there and checked out your site, and it's pretty awesome. You can go out there and you can check out all kinds of different things from the shows you do at night when you're doing your storytelling, what other people are advertising out, and everything else. And it's a really cool look from the island rather than from the mainland where everything kind of stays the same here. So welcome in. Do me a favor, introduce yourself, and let me know how you got started, what brought you into this field, and kind of introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah. Hey, so shoot. So how's it? My name is Joe Punohu. First of all, I'm Native Hawaiian, born and raised on Oahu, Kaneohe, and I feel like I've always been into this. Hold on.
Joe, you're breaking up a little bit, brother.
Yeah, I saw that.
Of course, we talked
to the Wi-Fi.
Of course, we talked beforehand. It's all fine. Once we start the show, you break up a little bit.
Yeah. How's it now? Is it better?
Yeah, it's coming through better. Yeah.
Okay. I can always move too, so I'm mobile. Let me know.
You're good.
Closer to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but the background you have is so good. I don't want to lose the background.
Look at the beach all the way down over there, bro. No.
Oh, lost you again. Stand by. Technical difficulties from Joe Punohu, way out in Hawaii.
I never really watched those ghost hunter shows and stuff, but I've just like from the time I was a little boy, and we're gonna move.
Okay.
We're gonna move. I see the circle of death. I'm like, you might have some keikis in the background, flapping around and stuff.
Yeah, it's really rough moving from one side of the beach to the other side of the beach. Yeah, rough.
Oh, so hard, so difficult. Yeah. There we go. Oh,
who's our friend in the background?
Oh, that's a friend of the family. They have one party over here, like we always do.
As you should.
Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna see kids and stuff in the
That's right.
background, and
Awesome.
But anyway, so yeah, I've always been into the paranormal from the time I was a kid. My house was haunted. We got the kind of lottery house, so we had to pull lottery, and my mom and dad were the ones that pulled and they chose the place we live at now, which just come to find out there was a burial site under where our house is of a chief several centuries ago, and his bones are still there. So he would come because he didn't know who we were.
Right.
And he never liked us for a while. And when he would come and harass us and just get angry, my grandpa, my dad's father, who passed away, this big Hawaiian man, maybe about 6'3", 6'4", I would see him. I'd see Grandpa walking around the house. Grandpa would protect us at night. And finally, after the house got blessed a few times, and it continued happening. We got it blessed by a Hawaiian priest that just talked story with the ghosts. So from the time I was about, 7 or 8, I learned what the word pono meant. The kahuna, the Hawaiian priest, said that the guy that lives here, he lives downstairs. He's buried there. He doesn't know what we're doing. He doesn't understand why there are people living above him now. And so my parents introduced themselves and asked for permission. And from that point on, we took care of the aina, the land, and he took care of us.
Nice.
Grandpa never came back because the chief is the one that protects us now.
Right.
So yeah, and I've just loved ghost stories growing up, and I've just loved telling, going ghost hunting, whatever. I mean, I remember high school, I was in the dorm, and I could feel something, and all my friends were hanging out in the room, and I'm like, hey guys, I think there's a ghost outside my window. Let's invite it in. It's not bad. And they're like, oh yeah. Nobody wants to be scared. And so I tell it to come in and sit down, and then the bed has an impression of someone sitting next to one of my friends. Like the butt mark goes down, and everybody would run out.
I love that because it's funny because we always talk about. I've already seen like a bunch of memes about it and everything else. Because, when someone passes and then they come back, people run from it, even though we say, "Hey, you need to come back and visit me," and then they end up running from it.
Yeah, exactly. I used to do the ghost tours, and people would tell me. So somebody told me, I go to a place that's haunted, Morgan's Corner, right? Everyone knows it's haunted. Everyone goes there, goes ghost hunting. I would have psychics on the tour tell me these ghosts are upset because everybody always comes over there, asks them do this, do that, and then when they do, they run away screaming. But nobody bothers to say thank you,
Right. Yeah.
to the spirits.
They're like, nothing's gonna happen, and then it does, and they freak out. Well,
yeah,
that's what you went there for. That's why you.
It's so funny, bro. It's like, can you make that thing move? Oh, bro, that thing went move. Oh, we gotta leave here right now, bro. Oh, no way. I'm like, bro, you asked me to move the thing, and you moved the thing, and now you scared.
Yeah, I mean, think of that if that was a child. You ask a child to do something, he doesn't do it. You're like, why didn't you do it? And then when they do it, they get praised for it.
Exactly. And it's like, no, but one of my friends was the best. He's walking down, and he's like, if there's anybody here, tell me hello. And then a woman's voice comes from the treetops, hello. And he's like, and he just freaks out. And it's like, bro, all she did was say hello, but it's a ghost.
So
why are you here?
So you and I talked a little bit before we came on, and I asked that tonight we kind of focus on island culture and island beliefs and how they're different or how they're the same as what we have here in the mainland, because we know what we have here in the mainland. Everybody kind of knows what's going on there, but there's been a couple of times where I brought stuff up that has happened to me or something else, and you're like, oh, well, we have this over here in the island, and it's so it's similar, but it's different because it's an island culture, and that's the beliefs from the island, from the island. So it would be kind of cool to have you talk about that kind of stuff tonight, if you're okay with that. Otherwise, we're just going to
sure.
So.
Sure. I got the perfect example that came to mind.
Sure.
So, same thing, but the perspective is different. Yeah, same thing, mainland culture, island culture, but the same thing would happen, but it's interpreted differently. So, there are some cultures that believe that coming across an owl. Let's say you're driving down a dirt road and a big owl swoops down, lands in the middle of the road, and is looking at you, just staring at you and won't move. Right? So you drive by, you know, the owl moves, and about an hour later, you get into a horrible car accident. Somebody gets hurt.
Right.
It was because you saw the owl. The owl was a curse. The owl brought bad luck. He's the one that brought the misfortune. In Hawaii, the owl, or we call him the pueo. The pueo here have been known to be an aumakua. Aumakua is a family guardian. When great grandma dies or great grandpa, they can come back and manifest into an animal and watch over your family. And so when we see an owl land on the road, the first thing we think of is, oh, that's kind of strange, yeah? Maybe that's great grandma telling us we better not go down the road, right?
Yeah.
It's warning us. It's telling us don't do this. And so we don't go down that road, and the owl's a guardian versus, oh, it's just an owl. And we drive down, and the owl was trying to tell you something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you never listen to the warning or interpret it as that.
Yeah.
So that, I guess that would be a little, but it's not, it's not everybody. We get plenty dummies over here too, and we get plenty really spiritual, really deep people on the mainland too, that know respect and that know how to listen and follow their instincts and all of that kind of stuff too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's so we do have Rosie's saying we believe them as messengers as well, but the thing is here we have different species of owls. I don't know if you guys have that over there too, but we have different species of owls. Like we have the barn, the hoot, the brown, the white owl, all these different owls. But a lot of them are interpreted for what type of owl it is, if they land or if they're still flying when they go by us. There's like a lot of different interpretations that we can tie into owls here. But
if you're educated in it.
Yeah, but like yours is like it's a family member. This is what it's brought back as because like you were saying, when a family member passes on, it comes back as an animal to protect you or to give you guidance or to help you. Whereas ours are like omens or blessings, or they could be anything depending on what the owl is doing at the time. So
yeah, that's true.
So we have that, but like we have. One of the things that I talked about over here is I talked about the elementals, because we talked about how I can see and hear the elementals, but you guys have them as something else. You call them something else, and I don't know if they serve the same purpose. I think they do for the most part, protecting the land and making sure the land is safe and protected and being maintained and stuff like that. For at least for the earth elementals. But I know that you guys have a lot of the same things. They're called different. I don't know if they're used for the same purposes.
Yeah. No, we call them different stuff here too. I'd really be interested when you coming down over here for you to tell me if these things. I'll take you to some places and tell me if you can feel them as elementals or something else different. Yeah. Because like. The things we have here could sound like elementals. Like we have the mo'o. In Hawaiian, the mo'o is lizard. Okay. So the gecko that crawl across the window could be a mo'o, but also dragons could be mo'o too. The legends have it that a lot of the mountain ridges and stuff are mo'o. They're just huge slumbering dragons or lizards. But then there's also the mo'o wahine, the female mo'o that can shapeshift into the form of a person.
Oh, okay.
And their behaviors are the same, and they're shapeshifters, and it's like their true form on this reality, I guess, in this dimension would be like long seaweed-like hair, either clawed fingers or webbed fingers, green, yellow, brownish, scaly skin, like that. And this description has come from people who have actually seen this before.
Right.
But it can shapeshift into something else, and the tricky ones. And I say the tricky ones because I made the mistake of generalizing it and saying the mo'o can do this, and they heard me. And they're not all bad. Yeah. Some of them are calling spirits, and they'll lure you to your death. Yeah. They'll put you in a trance. They'll make you go into the water where they'll drag you down. But it's like us. Like 99% of people are good or neutral, and it's the 1% that gives everybody else a bad name. Yeah. Yeah, we have... For us over here, we have the
we have the mermaids and the sirens. And the sirens are the ones that lure you to your death. They're the ones who the folklore is back when ships were at sea, their calling would call you towards them, and they were so beautiful. They were appeared so beautiful and everything else that they would jump off the ships to go see them and they drown, or they would wreck their ships on the rocks that they were singing from, and it would sink them all and it would kill them all. And that was what the sirens did. Well, whereas
The Odyssey, yeah.
protectors. So yeah, exactly, the Odyssey. So whereas protectors, they're the ones who look out for the sailors and for the ships and stuff like that. So it just depends on what story you're hearing.
It depends on which one you're coming across.
Right.
So I've studied that down here. We have the mo'o. It's said to, that's their description. And the thing that makes it different from other cultures is the tongue can come out up to about 10 feet long, and they use it as a surfboard.
Yeah.
In Japan, they have the kappa. The kappa is, has the bowl of water on its head, but it still has the long seaweed-like hair, the scaly skin. It has a turtle shell. And if you get tricked into bowing to you, emptying the bowl of water, then it will become paralyzed.
Yeah.
But the behavior of the kappa is known to... You eat sushi at all?
A little bit, yeah.
So they have the kappa sushi roll, the kappa maki. Yep. It's actually it's cucumber.
Yeah.
And it's at rice. And it's called the kappa because that was an offering given to the kappa, the cucumbers. What they would do is they would carve the name of their children into the cucumber and they throw it into the lake as an offering, saying, "You leave my kid alone, and I'll keep feeding you cucumbers," because they liked it. And so it's the same as in Hawaii, where they'll try to lure you into the water and then they'll drag you to the bottom and eat your intestines and blah 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 blah.
Right.
That kind of stuff. We have documented cases. We have a very famous police report. And research done about one of the drownings in the valley, not far from where I am in Waimea, that involved one of these. And a series of drownings, actually, where they believe it was actually a mo'o that dragged them to the bottom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're all the same. Mermaids are the same, too. Just each culture has their own flavor.
Right? And I'm going to touch on that here in a little bit, but I want to throw in a couple of messages that we're getting.
Oh.
Nicole is calling us out because she says, yeah, that's BS that I get to come see you. Or it's great that I get to come see you while she's working. Well, I'm going to work there. So for those people who don't know, I get to go to Hawaii in August. And it just happens to be I'm going to be on the same island where Joe's at. So even before the show, like right before the show, we were talking about some plans we're going to have. And I think we're going to try one night to go live while I'm there on an investigation. So, we'll be able to do a night show while I'm there, which will be fantastic. And so people will be able to see it together while I'm out there. Now, my wife is hearing this for the first time. This is going to make me even more jealous. So this is going to be great. And I told you we can see some of the people in the background, and Rosie's pointing out. I bet the guy in the background was a surfer. He doesn't stand up straight. So, so right behind you, she's thinking the gentleman with the white hair was probably a surfer because he doesn't stand up straight.
That's dead. That's
which is funny because I don't stand up straight and I surfed for years. Yeah. So and then my wife, since I just shared that information with my wife, she said yes, jealous. Just did it on live on air, so I'm sure I'm going to hear about that tonight. But yeah, so
come with us.
So she has to go back to work for school. So,
she got to go to work.
Yeah, she's a teacher, so she's got to go back, and that's like the first week they go back to school. So she won't be able to come out. So we look like we thought
I didn't know
about
my dad was in the camera. Sorry.
Oh, that was fine. That was cool. But we actually talked about having her come out, but I'm staying on the base, so it's hard to get her on and off the base when I'm working. So that's one of the reasons we got to have a hard time getting her out there.
What base?
We are staying. Where are we staying? Hickam,
Army.
I think we're staying at Hickam. So.
Oh. Yeah. I got some ghost stories on that one.
Oh, awesome. So, say lovies. You get to read this one. I don't know what that says. Looks like everyone.
Cow.
Pau cow
Yeah,
cow.
everyone's
Okay.
cow. Eat lunch. Eat
Oh, okay.
meal. Pow done. Yeah, we all pow over here. We
Yeah.
had lao lao.
So so everyone getting suggestions about having Nikki come out with us there. She's saying, "Hey, Nikki, you should stream with your class." Um, the problem is that Nikki will not be in class when you and I are doing this because you're 5 hours behind us. So Nikki will be sleeping, but we'll be doing the streaming. So,
Yeah, we go sunning 7 a.m.
oh, there we go. Yeah, yeah. I'm supposed to be at work then, but that'll work great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rosie, I'm in Central. I'm Central time zone, and at 7 o'clock when my show started, it was 5. It was 2 p.m. there, so they're 5 hours behind Central time zone. So whatever time zone you're in, do the math from there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had to make sure that we can get him on while he was available and either not sleeping or I wasn't going to be sleeping. So this is the best time we can do it. So I did want to touch on some of the cultures or beliefs or how you guys look at them, or if they're just the same. But when we talk about angels, are they the same? Are they different? Are they? Um, are they
Angels is more of a Christianity invention. So
right?
they were brought here with the missionaries and stuff. And yeah, they're about the same.
Okay, but do you guys have any kind of like protectors that are just strict to Hawaii?
Yeah. In terms of the angelic, or we have Saint Damien, who was Father Damien,
Okay,
the first and only priest in Hawaii to be canonized a saint. He was on
oh, that's
Kalaupapa
right.
and the
Yeah,
leper colony. Yeah, so we have that. A lot of people
hearing
pray
him.
to him, but we have all the same saints. In fact, I don't know if you saw the pictures on my page. I went to an old burned down church from the 1850s or 60s called
Yeah,
St. Michael, after St. Michael the Archangel. That was
oh,
really cool.
very cool. That's awesome. Your kids in the background.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's early. Everybody's still playing and having
Oh, that's
fun.
fantastic. I love hearing him in the background. So this is great.
So for
But
like for angels, guardians, protectors, we have the Almakua. We have a lot of different like Almakua is not just the owl, the pueo. A lot of it sometimes there's sharks as well, and you actually have stories of sharks saving people. You
oh yeah,
know, we have families that will go and feed the sharks. Like they'll do their chant and they'll bring food, and the sharks will come right up to them in the water, and then they feed their Almakua. You know, they
very
feed their
cool.
sharks.
Yeah,
So we got a lot of guardians, and even like if you are pono, if you are righteous, if you are respectful, then you have guardians too. I've noticed that.
yeah.
There was a time we went to Morgan's Corner, aka Judd Trail. I go there an awful lot. It's pitch black. It's an old battlefield. A lot of people died there. It can be very scary. So I went there with a high school band from the Big Island. And when I was done telling some of the history, I invited whoever wanted to come down further into what's called the abyss, because you're up on the top telling the stories right next to the van, safe, yeah, and then you go down onto the trail where you can't see your hand in front of your face.
Right.
So about maybe 10 or 11 people did that, and I had them all turn off their phones and their cameras, and so it was pitch black, and I could feel the whole time I was telling the stories. I could feel there were three warriors just right behind us, three old Hawaiian warrior spirits, and they were just hanging out. They were talking story, they were laughing, they were joking. We got down and they came a little closer, but they're still watching us, right? And I told them, I'm like, okay, guys, I feel the presence of three spirits really near us. Can we invite them to come and join us? And they said they're kind of iffy. I'm like, they're good. Don't worry about it. And and it's pitch black. You can feel the tension, the apprehension, the fear, right? You don't need to see it. You can just feel it in the air. And so I spoke some Hawaiian and I invited the warriors to come and join us. And the temperature went from about 65, 70 degrees to about 80 degrees.
Mm,
It felt like a warm blanket was wrapped around me.
wow.
And we all felt safe.
Yeah.
We all felt good. I turned the light on and everybody was smiling. And I'm like, get ghosts right now, yeah, right behind you. or there's ghosts with us. I'm like, where are they? And all of them said behind us because they could feel these three men standing behind the group in the pitch black.
Very cool.
Um, that's kind of why I do this. I told them, I'm like, this is what you need to remember. You know, that your ancestors are going to keep watching over you so long as you're pono, you're respectful. And then I had a guy come up there like, but sir, I'm not Hawaiian. You know, are they going to protect me? I'm like, you take care of the land, you one of their own, bro. They'll
Right.
protect you too.
Yep. So you mentioned dragons earlier, and I way back when I kind of first started my show, someone asked me on my show, do I know about the different colors of dragons? And I explained to them that the colors of dragons, like the red, the white, the green, all the different colors of dragons, the blues, they fall along the same lines as our Christian angels. The green Raphael, the green dragon, is the healer. The white is the purity. The white dragon is the pure dragon. The blue dragon and the blue angel, that's Archangel Michael, who's our warrior, and stuff like that. So do the native culture have the same color scheme, or they're just dragon, or they're just how
They're
did that?
just
How do they?
not that I've ever heard. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's interesting because I've heard that too, but I've never heard that in Hawaii with the legends, the mo'olelo. That's legends. The legends in Hawaii that I grew up in and hearing. And actually, interesting is we take apart the Hawaiian word mo'o is actually mo'olelo means story.
Okay.
Mo'o is lizard. Olelo is the Hawaiian language. Like
Huh.
the lizard is connected from its head all the way to the last bone in its tail through one
Yeah.
spine. A story is connected one piece to another, to another, to another, to another, to another by the spoken word. That's what mo'olelo means.
Very cool.
But yeah, I can't think of anything like where they come in different colors and stuff. I do know that like I have a cousin who's sensitive. She's a psychic. She's a medium, and I've taken her to a lot of these places in the daytime, and she's seen them. Like we go to this pond, Hawaii, and she tells me like it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and she's like, "There's all of these lizard people just sunbathing."
Yeah.
And they have tattoos, they have piercings. They differentiate each other with their jewelry, with their piercings, or their tail kind of twirls at the end, or around their shoulder, or around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how they're distinctive. But they're just like people sized, and they just hanging out and doing their thing. Yeah. So I don't know. You ever heard that before? But like they got the piercings and the tattoos.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm intrigued. I'm listening to you, and I'm also listening to the wind come through. And for me, even though we're in video, I can tell where the wind elementals are that are moving your trees. How do you guys identify wind movement, or I mean, do you guys have something like that, or is it?
Yep. In Hawaii, every wind had its own name.
Okay.
Every wind was its own spirit. Like we're talking, the wind and the rain had its own spirit. The light misty rain in like okay, Kaneohe is where I live, but there's a little section of Kaneohe called Apuakea, and there's actually a song named after the wind, specifically the wind that comes from the mountains over to Apuakea, and that has its own name.
Okay.
The strong wind going the opposite direction is a different spirit with a different name, you know, and that kind of stuff. So we have a lot. I always in my group, there's always a lot of people that argue and stuff, and they're like, they get too caught up in the paranormal. Everybody's a self-proclaimed scientist, right? And they have to debunk everything, right?
Right.
I'm Native Hawaiian.
Yeah.
I hear spirits in the wind.
Right.
I hear spirits in the trees, which can be debunked 100 different ways as natural. Spirits are not supernatural. They're natural. They're a part of us. They're a part of the land. They're more natural than we are. You know.
And I think that's one difference that I have compared to a lot of people that are psychic or you know, because consider me paranormal, because I also have the attachment to the elementals, which to me is very natural. They're not supernatural. They're not paranormal. I believe the same thing. They are what's healing our earth. They're what's cleansing our air. They're what's keeping our waters pure when they need to be purified. Yeah, I mean, they're the ones who are taking care of everything taken care of in nature in general. And so I think that's different as well. That's how I see them. I don't have different names like you do with different breezes and everything else. For me, I just as elementals or earth elementals or fire elementals. Um, so I see them as actual beings, as creatures that I can actually physically see behind me right now. So to me, it is very natural. It's not a supernatural type thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's why I like you. You get that. A lot of people, it has to exist on this three-dimensional plane. It has to exist where I can see it, hear it, taste it, feel it by my five senses, or it's not real.
right. Now, I know this is going to be and this is just my ignorance asking this question, because you're Native Hawaiian. That's just who you are. You're very much in touch with everything that's Hawaiian. When you come to the mainland, are your senses the same for like mainland spirits or mainland entities, whatever else? Because you're so in touch with us there. When you come over here, how do your senses pick up here?
So my mom's side of the family is from California.
Okay.
So we would go to California an awful lot. Yeah. Like that's all we would
Which
go.
is where I'm from, yeah. So
Yeah. I couldn't feel anything. California always felt dead to me.
yeah,
There's no land spirits. It's a desert,
yeah.
But then in 2014, I took a trip cross country, kind of like we drove all over the place in a week. And we were in Ohio, we were in Illinois, we drove through all the cornfields, and it was like, and I looked at my friend Doug, and I'm like, bro, this feels like home.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
the energy, the land, it just feels like home.
and that's why when I was in California, the two places I went to the most was the ocean and the mountains. That was the two places I lived at the most because I was either surfing or I was snowboarding. So those are the two places I lived down in a vineyard I lived in Napa, which is full of vineyards and everything else and stuff like that. So it's not like Southern California. Northern California is very much farmland, which is really nice. It's not like Southern California at all, but it was kind of the same thing. I felt more at home, and I didn't know that that's what it was at the time, but I felt more at home when I was by the water or I was by the mountains. It was just nature is what it was. I wasn't in town. So
Exactly. But it does have, see, like, okay, like we have the ocean behind me, and this is how I grew up. You look and you see water as far as the eye can see.
correct.
When I went to the mainland, seeing that much land blew my mind.
Right.
Because you think about it, every little piece of land, I live on an island, okay? Every inch of land here has had people for hundreds of years walking through it. Every inch of land here, even in the mountains, people would hike and, all of this stuff, and the ancients would go. And you go over there and you can easily go in this huge ocean of land to a place that has never been touched by humankind before.
Right.
That thought just blew my mind.
Yeah.
And how I used to think, people, how you get lost hiking? You just keep walking till you hit the ocean, right?
Get to the other side, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Way different on the mainland.
Yeah. Nikki's saying we see cornfields as far as the eye can see.
But yeah, but then the spirits too are different. We have in Hawaii we have a lot of cultural stuff like Hawaiian legends, which you grow up hearing stories of Madame Pele, goddess of the volcano, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And not just legends that you read out of a book, or lelos, but you hear the story from your grandma about the time when she picked up Madame Pele. You hear the story from your uncle about the vanishing hitchhiker that looked like Madame Pele that came into his knocked on his door at 10 o'clock at night, and when he offered her water, she said thank you. When he went to get the water, she vanished. Next morning, the volcano erupted, spared her house, his house. Went right around the house, and everything else gone, but that one house is standing still. These are real stories to us, right?
Yeah.
And like you live here long enough, and you know somebody, or you have your own story of Pele. So if Pele is real, then why not everybody else? So
Right.
we have Kamapua'a, the half man, half pig, shapeshifter, demigod. You got Kaupe, half man, half dog, shapeshifter, demigod. You have the god of war, Kukailimoku, who demanded human sacrifice and human flesh. Hawaii's not all my guys on the beach. It's actually happened. I told a story last Friday about my encounter with Kukailimoku. He thought I was doing ghost tours, people bringing people back to where he lives, which we didn't know. He thought we were bringing the tourists over there to sacrifice. This was in 2008.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a learning experience. All right, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
We have a lot of these other spirits that will manifest in many, many, many ways. And that's just the Hawaiian. Then you got the Japanese. Then you got the Chinese. Then you got the Filipinos. Then you got
Yeah.
all these different cultures that come from all over the world that come down here.
Yeah.
We got the faceless lady of Japan, the Nopera Bowl, that I actually saw 2 nights, hitchhiking on the side of the road. There is the Aswang, the Filipino vampire lady who detaches her lower torso and flies. The woman grows bat wings and she flies. I think that's a manananga. I believe we saw her one night. Like we heard something going boom, 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 flapping over us. My friend looked up and saw a woman with bat wings just watching us and glaring at us. You know, so
Yeah.
we have all of these stories, and most of the time you got to research and Google what the heck did we just come across.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting how the different cultures have the different beliefs. Like, you know, one of the largest casinos for a long time out in Vegas, their entryway was a large lion. You know, and it was an entryway, but the Chinese will not walk through a lion's mouth. It's bad luck. So they had to form another entryway specifically for them to go through because it was bad luck to walk through a lion's mouth. It was bad luck. And that was one of their main attractions to their opening of their casino was a large lion. So they could walk through their mouth. So but yeah, so there's a lot of different ones. I mean, even if you're looking at where we're at, over here in the States, there's a lot of the same things where stories are told to keep kids in line. You know, ghost stories and kinds of stuff, or you know, if you do this, even something as simple as what do we have? We have Elf on the Shelf to keep kids in line during Christmas. And they have this little elf that the parents move around everywhere to tell the kids that the elf is reporting back to Santa and telling them if they're being good or not. So that way Santa is, so that way the kids will be good during Christmas time. So these little story times that, you know, but and then we have stuff like where my Native American beliefs, where we have like, because I am a certain tribe, that we have the dogmen. And it's believed that, you know, they became the Dogman warriors because they were blessed with being a pack, you know, a fighting force, and they all turned into dogs when they attacked, and they had the supernatural strength of dogs, you know, like basically almost like gods of dogs. And then during the daytime, they revert back to their human form. So it was kind of the same thing, and that's why they became so feared as a fighting tribe, as a fighting force, because of their supernatural abilities. So, and Joe is Stuart's giving you some information. He said, put a little airy foam over the mic and it will dampen the wind. We do that with mics for singers. Well, his is on his headphones though, so
yeah, mine's over here, so
straight through his headphones, so it's not. He doesn't have a mic.
I'll just talk like this.
That's just, we can hear you just fine. We just got some wind, but we can hear you just fine. Yeah, he's not using a mic like I am. He's just using his headphones.
Yeah, I need to get a better one.
But yeah, so it's interesting how all the cultures have these different, but they all had to come from somewhere.
Yep.
You know, there had to be a start somewhere, and you know, and just like creatures like Bigfoot or creatures like those, they had to start somewhere. Where did those legends come from? Was it all just storytelling? Was it because that's actually what happened at that time? You know, in the past, were there gods amongst us or deities and everything else amongst us that have just died out with civilization? or the lack of belief as technology came into form or whatever. What happened to them? So it's and because your culture, the island culture, definitely has more recent traditional beliefs in it all than ours does in the mainland from the stuff that we were taught. So it's really cool because you guys continue on to do that. Cause you even talk about how with the sharks, when they give the blessings to the sharks, when they give the offerings to the sharks and stuff like that, that's kind of a big thing. And I'm assuming that there's a lot of different things that you do throughout the year that tie to offerings, because that's important.
Oh yeah,
that's important to the culture. For us, we don't do the offerings.
oh yeah.
So it's kind of it's different because yours is more of a. It's because we lost Joe. Lost Joe for a second. Stand by. Amanda, to answer your question while he's not here, he does have. There you are. He does have a mic built into his headphones. It's just that he's not talking into like a microphone that's sitting in front of him. My headphones do the same thing. I can hear you and I can talk to you through my headphones. He doesn't have one in front of him.
You guys can hear me all right, though, huh?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Okay.
And yes, Stuart, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Cheyenne dog soldiers. Yep. Because that's part of my heritage. I'm Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, and Cheyenne Native American. So that's where that comes from. Good job. But like I was saying, when you guys still do all the offerings and everything else, it's because you still have that's been brought up in your entire community, your entire background, everything else. We've given all that stuff up for the most part. I mean, now everything here on the mainland is TikTok and and 15-second clips of videos. So
yep, exactly. I noticed that we call it ho'okupu. Ho'okupu is offering, but it's very similar to Asian tradition too.
Yeah.
They leave offerings as well. In fact, this is Japanese season. This is Obon now, where they celebrate all summer the Festival of the Dead, where they play drums and dance and welcome their ancestors to come back and dance and eat and party with them for one night, and then they go back to the afterworld. And they put the little boats and all of that stuff with the candles, and and that's all summer.
Yeah,
it's similar. Chinese, you have Qingming.
Qingming. Yep.
Yep. My uncle, we would burn people money.
Well, and that's what it's also going to be interesting for me, for people who don't know. I'm also going to be going to Japan for 2 weeks in July. I'll be going up to Okinawa. So that'll be a very interesting time to be up there as well, because it's going to be in the heart of a lot of stuff that's going on culturally for them too. So, so luckily I'll be able to travel to a couple of places and share some experiences on my travels. Because like I said, I'm going to go see you. If possible, I'm going to try to do a live when I'm out in Japan and everything else. I won't be doing a show, but I'm just going to try to do a live while I'm out there and try to introduce some people to some of the cultures that are out there and see what they're like, which is what I'm hoping to do when I'm with you, and to introduce it to the people here on the mainland. So what you actually do on your site, on the Hawaiian Hauntings site. Let me throw it back up there again. I have not seen that. I also posted it in the comments, so when people go back and watch this, they'll be able to see your site and know how to get to it. But right here, Hawaiian Hauntings, this is what Joe owns. This is what he runs. So you can go out to Hawaiian Hauntings on Facebook.com/Hawaiian.hauntings. Go out there, follow, like, share his information. When you go out there, you actually do your shows. You actually go out and tell ghost stories. It's literally ghost stories. When you do that, do you have one particular story that you favor over others, or one particular location that you like to tell stories in over others?
In terms of stories, they're all my favorite. You got the scary ones, you got the cool ones, you got, but like in terms of location, I generally like Judge Trail / Morgan's Corner because of its convenience. You can park there, take a chair. I mean, most of the time we go out ghost hunting, We bring chairs, we bring tables. Sometimes we bring food, coffee, whatever. We just sit down in the middle of the pitch black forest for hours and unwind from the week, talk story. But I love, like, over there, it can be a lot darker and a lot scarier,
Yeah.
depending on what kind of energy you bring into it. I love to go there because whenever I would tell ghost stories there, say I worked for a company called Oahu Ghost Tours from 2008 to about 2012, 2014, where we would go to these locations 3, 4 times a week. And I noticed over there, when I would tell ghost stories, the ghosts like to hear it.
Right. Yeah.
And I would have people tell me this, and you would feel the presence of somebody, of people, an entire group watching you from the bushes, from the trees, from behind the group, you know. And so I've always seen it as a privilege and a blessing to be able to entertain my kupuna, my ancestors,
Your ancestors. Yeah.
you know, and
That
to
word I
be
did know.
welcomed
Hey.
back. Yeah, there you go. But it's such an honor to be welcome to come back there to tell stories.
Yeah.
And so, like, last October, probably this October too, I really liked it. I went out there by myself every night for an hour to an hour and a half, and I told ghost stories. If people wanted to come, they could come. If not, I'm by myself. But I did it so that on the Facebook Live, that's 31 plus hours of ghost stories in 1 month.
Right. Yeah.
I told you I could talk a lot. And we're on site, we can investigate, and I'm telling the ghost stories for the ghosts because they like it.
Yeah. Have you ever done a ghost story telling time? What we call it that? Ghost story telling time for the younger audience, strictly for the younger audience,
With what? Come again?
strictly for your younger audience, for the kids.
Oh yeah, actually I did that last weekend over here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my sister wanted was because I did my Facebook Live weekend before last weekend, so it was a Kamehameha Day weekend. I did my live down at the beach, telling ghost stories about this area, Mokuleia, Wailua, and some of the experiences I had, as well as showed some pictures. And then when we were done, my sister wanted me to tell some ghost stories to the kids. And my youngest is 5, and her twins are 5.
Yeah.
And so we went down to the beach at nighttime and we told stories about Madame Pele. We told funny ghost stories. We told legends, that kind of stuff. And it wasn't that scary, but it scared the pants off of them anyway.
But that's cool though, because that's the way the information gets passed down. So you're just basically passing the information down.
My older children, my daughter Makamai is 15, and my oldest Makana is 19, turning 20. I literally started doing the ghost tours when Makamai was born, my daughter. So I don't hide the experiences because every ghost story I tell has a lesson that shapes a person that you learn from. 'Cause she knows all of my ghost stories. My son
Yeah.
knows all of my ghost stories. When I had a case that was really, really hard, they're my best friends. I turned to them just to be able to talk to somebody, even though they're
Yeah.
little kids, you know what I mean? But they were still able to just listen and absorb with me. When I had some really scary stuff, I would turn to my wife, but then wife, and we would or my friends and stuff like that. But yeah, my kids, they know all about. There's not a story my two oldest kids don't know.
So, so Amanda's asking, do you feel that storytelling is an important part of an investigation?
It depends on what the purpose of the investigation is. I rarely go out to prove the existence of paranormal. Um, that's typically ghost hunters, ghost adventures, blah blah blah. Their mission for a paranormal investigator is to prove that it's a ghost and not like bad wiring or something, right?
Right.
Um, I was stuck with a conundrum because I already believe in ghosts. Why am I going to spend the next 20 years proving that they're real? You're either going to believe them or not.
Yeah.
In fact, I got a saying. I can show you pictures of ghosts, and you can tell me it was photoshopped. I could show you a video of a ghost, and you could say it was fake. If we had the technology, I could let you go into my brain and see and feel and be there in my head, seeing everything that happened to me when we had ghosts. And you could just say it's schizophrenic.
Right.
So it's all a personal belief,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But telling stories, they are a very good trigger objects, right? They're a very good trigger object that you know. Sometimes the spirits, we've gotten EVPs where we're telling a story and it's like, what, you know, like we're at the plantation village and there's a Portuguese house where it burned down. And I'm telling my friend Guy, there's the stories. There's a guy, and my dad had to raise his girl who was kind of slow, and so he tied her leg to one side of the rope, and the other side of the rope to her bed. And he had to work in the fields, and she would be good. But then one day the house burned down, and he couldn't save her in time.
Mm.
And as I'm saying this, I hear a voice whispering, "I didn't tell anybody that." You know, it's like, I didn't tell anybody that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and I didn't hear it. It's on the recording, and I'm like, oh, I feel something right after the voice. And then guy, and then I continue on and say, oh yeah, I think that the guy Jeff, he's the one that's in charge of this place. He probably found out from looking up on the records or something. And then I hear the same voice go, oh, okay. You know, like that. Like I'm having a conversation with something I don't even know I'm
Right.
having a conversation with. You know, but that storytelling triggered that event. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But hope that answered your question. I don't just say yes or no. There's a whole lot. I'm gonna make a great old man someday because yeah.
So Stuart saying you are a true bard, passing on knowledge stories. Exactly. Uh, so and
Mahalo.
and it's funny because one of the things I thought of when you were talking about how you tell the stories and the ghosts are the one that come forward to listen to you, like having stories told. The one thing it reminded me of is one of our audience members, Ajang. When she plays piano,
Yeah.
all the spirits come out to listen to her play because they're so enthralled and just taken in by how well she plays and how it's not she's not playing music, she's playing her soul. Like she's music is how she resonates to the world, is through music, and it brings everybody, not just living and past spirit, out to her, and they sit around, and I've seen them around her piano when she plays. I can see them in my mind, and I've actually described them to her when she plays, that they just come out and sit, and they're generational. It does not matter. It's not one time period, which I imagine is the same thing with yours, because I kind of feel like when you tell stories about spirit and ghost, it's not just those spirits and ghosts that come to hear him. It's the other spirits in the area too that come to go, oh, story time from Joe. Let's go listen to Joe tell a story about this time period. So, you know, or about these different spirits, and it's almost like it's almost like a celebration of those that have passed, or the stories behind them, or whatever it is. That's the same thing that I feel from when a Zhang plays music, and
You're right. I know
and
what
I'm
you're
kind of
talking about.
I can kind of tie that between both of you. It's really cool to be able to understand that. So yeah, so it's very
Yeah.
nice.
See, I have a theory about that too. So, sound is actual physical vibrations picked up by your ears, right?
Right.
And by flooding an area with that kind of sound, it affects the spirit world more than you would imagine,
Yeah.
because that's what they consist of. Now
Yeah.
we have a term over here in Hawaii called howling.
Howdy.
Howling is generally it's a stereotype for white people,
That's
visitors,
it. That's
blah blah
me.
blah.
I'm a howdy.
But I'm more than half howling myself. So
I'm like, I'm definitely not Chamorro.
I'm the kind of Hawaiian where the white people think I'm Hawaiian, but the Hawaiians think I'm a white person. So. But so I heard this and I thought it was the most beautiful thing and it made sense. How Howli, how oli, howli, how ha is breath, life. Ole is none. So I grew up thinking dead people, no life, no breath.
Right.
They're white, they're zombies, you know.
Yeah.
But when the Hawaiians heard the missionaries praying to their God, they would bow their head and they'd pray in a monotone voice. When the Hawaiians would pray to their gods, they would chant.
They would
The
chant.
air would shake, the air would vibrate, the air would have colors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is an offering to the spirits, to the gods. You know, it's like a fireworks show. It's like a feast for them. And they would look at the missionaries and say, "How can your God hear you?" You know. There's no ha. There's no ha in your prayers. There's a ha ole. That's kind of how I see the haole, the word haole.
Yeah, and that's a great way to describe it. Because when I talk about a Zhang, I tell her when she plays, she is opening up
Oh yeah.
she's opening up the veil between her and the spirit world, and that's what they're listening to. Is the music that she's playing is not just for the living. It's that's when she's most open, is when she's playing, when her artistic side opens up, and that's when you're most open, is when you're telling your stories. It's almost like that's when you're opening up and they're going, okay, he's open, we're going to go take this in, because this is when he's most open. I mean, you always have it with you, but when you tell the stories, and with the reverence that you do, then they're like, he's speaking not just about us but to us, and so this is our return back to him. So,
I'm sitting here wondering if that kind of energy is enough to open some kind of portal between us with the Jang and stuff, where that kind of energy and vibration and stuff can open a portal to allow more spirits to come in.
Well, I think yes, but I think it's a controlled portal. I think it's only for good. I think because of your intention, your intention of what is allowing it to open up to. It's almost like when they say that Halloween is when the veil between the living and the dead is the thinnest. It's kind of like that's your Halloween. That's the best way to describe it. When you're opening to tell a story, that's your thinnest part of the veil. The same thing with the Zhang. When she sings, that's the thinnest part of the veil between the living and the dead. So that's why they're open up and allowed to come in so easily at that point, because that's what you're doing. Rosie is asking you, has something or someone ever scared you so bad that you never returned?
I've had a few really bad experiences that terrified me, wanted to make me quit doing the ghost tours. Or I went to Bobby Mackey's in 2014. That place left me pretty messed up for about 2 years following. Um, I have the night I met the God of War, and he followed me home, and he wanted me to do human sacrifice. Scared the living daylights out of me.
That would do it.
I mean, this guy, everything I learned growing up, you yell at the ghost goes away. You throw salt, the ghost goes away. You get the tea leaf, the ghost goes away. I did all of that, and he was laughing at me.
He was like, "Oh, that's cute."
Yeah, and I'm like, but when I prayed, because then he finally went away. But it was still like I felt helpless. I felt out of control. My boss at the time, Chris, who owned the Wahoo Ghost Tours, I told him I gotta quit. He told me, "Okay." I told him my words were, "I gotta quit. I can deal with ghosts. I cannot deal with gods." And he told me, "Okay, but I need to tell you something. If you quit, they're not gonna stop bothering you."
Yeah.
He's like, the only way to get them to stop bothering you is to face it head on, face your fears head on, is to own it and to acknowledge it and to move forward. And so that's kind of where I go from there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And whenever I get scared, I mean, I had a night where I had on a tour in front of 20 something people. I'm about a foot away from the bush, and there's something in the bush, and it's a foot above me. There's this dark mass growling and snarling like it was a dog man that was a cannibal, less than a foot away from my face. That was the most panicked I think I ever got instantaneously, until it occurred to me after about another 2 minutes that this thing is all it's doing is growling and snarling.
Yeah.
It could just reach down and grab me and pull me right into the bush, but all it's doing is growling and snarling, and that made me feel a lot better. I'm like, well, go ahead, growl all you want,
Right.
And I was all, when I get scared, I laugh and I crack jokes and that kind of stuff. When I get really scared, I tend to change the energy.
Yeah. And that's important. So.
Yeah.
And
the scariest things is when I lose control over the people that I'm with, and when I can't help people that ask me for help.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hard one. I agree.
Or when you can't help them help themselves.
Yeah,
I lost a few people over the last few years, like to cancer and to this and to that, because they could, no matter how many people you got or no matter how many psychics, I pulled them all out of the woodworks. The Reiki healers, the crystal healers, the Lomi healers, the Chinese healers, and they all told her the same dang thing. And we couldn't do it. She ended up dying.
yeah, yeah.
Is that Melody?
That was Melody saying the human factor is rough. Yeah, that is very true. And that's where it is for me too. Because a lot of people know my background for military side and stuff like that. And when we lost someone, that is something completely out of my control. That was very, very rough to deal with. That's something that you just that's that. No matter how much strength we think we have, or how much we think we can do, there's always a limit to what we're able to do. Um, and it seems to put us back in check pretty quick when we start getting too big for our britches. So,
Yeah.
so Janet asks, "Do you pray when you do paranormal?"
Um, if I have to, I do. But for the most part, like when I go to Judd Trail, it's so peaceful. People fall asleep. Like we bring a little like pop up hammock now for my friend Joy. Her daughter is what 16, and she'll go over there in the pitch black in one of the most haunted places in Hawaii and literally take a 3 hour nap. And she'll look forward to coming there. But then they'll go back with somebody else, and it's completely different. You're on edge. There's just had the energy changes.
Yeah.
So when I go out to these places, I usually bring the whole posse with me, the whole good angels and all of that. As I said, if I tell a story that's really, really scary and disturbing, I've been told by people on the live that that kind of energy lingers in their house, and I've had people tell me that they've had things happen in their house
Yeah.
because of my story. So I'll do a prayer then to protect myself. It's been a long time since I had to pray, but I have done that. Now, what I've been told a lot by a lot of different people is when something comes into my bubble, my eyes turn golden and they glow. So people have told me that I channel Michael the Archangel.
Mm.
There was one case that I had worked where I went full on Michael. I recorded this whole thing on audio
Yeah.
for liability reasons, and I go back and I listen to it, and this was not me speaking. And when the girl, she had 20 different ghosts inside of her, and they were each vying for her. And I was trying to pull her out. After about 45 minutes, I was able to pull her out so I could talk to her, and then we can make a plan of attack on how to get her better.
Right.
When she came back, I introduced myself to her as Joe several times, but all she heard was, "My name is Michael."
Oh.
And she kept calling me Michael. And I'm like, "No, my name's not Michael, it's Joe." She's like, she's my age, She's like, "Okay, Michael." I'm like, "Okay, I'll be Michael then."
Right.
But so because I've done the tours so much, I've been in charge of so many different groups, I've started to adopt the role of guardian. And I think that's why Michael, I can channel him a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool and it's very humbling. But if my eyes turn gold, then something's up.
Yeah.
Like my friends will look and they're like, "Joe, your eyes are shining again," or something, and it's like, well, that means something bad is in my bubble, and we need to do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I'm one of those that I don't even have a bubble. I just wear a shield. It's because a lot of people will tell you, you probably heard it too, that I wear it close to my skin as possible because I want whatever it is to come right up to me, and I know I'm still safe because I want to see what it is. I want to hear what it is. I want to know everything about it, knowing that I'm still safe. So that's why I wear that shield of my armor rather than a bubble, because I want to get that close, and I'm not afraid of it because I'm expecting it to get that close. So
I know exactly what you mean. When I go out in a group, the bubble is to protect the people,
Right.
and when I go out even by myself, it's what I said earlier, purpose.
Yeah.
My purpose of coming here is to tell a ghost story.
Yeah.
My purpose is not to go into my kupuna's house and say, "Hey, you guys here? Check come." You know what I mean?
Right.
My purpose is to go over there and simply share a story. If they like come hang out, they can come hang out. They
Right.
like make noise, they can make noise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's the whole idea of mine with a purpose. And there are times I go there to just for the purpose of checking the place out and seeing what's there. And
Right.
then I'll pull it closer to my skin. You
Yeah.
know, it was really cool. You might like this one. So I have a friend Skylar, this Howley guy, white guy, and he's like a hiker. What is it called? He like adrenaline junkie,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So he loves to go ghost hunting, and it's like he's like, Joe, I want something to happen. I'm like, then you gotta walk away from me, bro. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I got a bubble about 10 feet out. You walk 10 feet away from me, and stuff will happen. I'm like, go over there. So he walked 10 feet away, and then the bush started shaking, and he ran back to me. He's like, something's in the bush. I'm like, yeah, here's my flashlight. He goes over there, turns the flashlight on. 10 feet away, the flashlight turns off. He does this one more time. I turn the flashlight on for him. As he takes a step away and walks away from me, every step the light gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And then he runs back to me, and the light goes all like gets brighter as he gets to me. That was so cool.
He's like, okay, we're good. I got it.
He's like, oh, I understand now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to come up there and hang out with you. And I'm Melody. I'm expecting to come too, since I know you're in the area. So
Yeah, I'll pick you up, Melody.
don't be surprised if I come check out your store that you're at and everything else. I want to come meet as many people as I can when I'm out there. I want to hear all the stories. So
Yep.
But yeah, so that's gonna be a good one. Oh, yep. See, I know she's still listening because she says I'll be there. So yeah. Is there any is there one big, I guess the best way to say it, is there one big misconception that the mainland people have that always gets either misinterpreted or misunderstood, like when we come out there, or that's just in general that we're just like, and you're just like, no, that's just wrong. You're just straight up wrong on that.
The mentality. When I enter a site, I ask for permission. I state my name. I do a protocol, and I say, "Aloha, my name is Joe. I'm coming here tonight to tell some ghost stories, and I brought some friends. If we could come in tonight and do that, it will be appreciated. If not, let us know and we'll leave."
Yeah.
People come here. I've worked with the Travel Channel. I've worked with Sci-Fi Channel, and they come here like they own the place.
Right.
Or they not always that they own the place, but the way they respect the place is much different than the way we respect it. And, I see them trying.
It's like they're entitled. It's almost like they feel like they're entitled.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to realize when you're going to places like this, you're going into somebody else's house.
Yeah.
Right. So we have that whole stacking rock things that people do over there, right? You stack the rocks and it makes you feel real spiritual. It's like somebody coming into your house and stacking your VHS tapes and saying, "Look, I left you an offering."
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, brah, what did you do? You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, exactly.
But to them, it's a very spiritual thing, and they feel so good for doing, which is great. But they don't see it from the point of view where they are the guest, and they don't have to be invited in. There's been many times I asked them for permission. Could we come down tonight? Bah! Tree falls down. Okay, that's a no.
No. Yep.
We come back tomorrow. Aloha.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is fantastic, and that's something that I'll have to keep in mind too. I try to be very respectful when I'm at locations. This is going to be.
But me too. I'm Hawaiian. I'm respectful, but I forget sometimes too.
Yeah, and that's and don't be surprised when I lean on you for guidance, because I have abilities, but that doesn't mean I'm always right. So
Well, that's the best thing you can learn. I have abilities too, but I rely on a lot of other people. I know
yeah,
what I feel, but what you feel is just another piece of what I feel. You know what
right,
I mean? And to
exactly.
find that connection is what you got to look for.
Yep, yep, yeah. I agree with that. And Melody, thank you. She said, yeah, same thing. I used to live on Hickam, so she's got stories as well. That's
All
awesome.
right.
Yeah. And Rosie says, I'm sure the ghost will tell you when someone doesn't have good intentions.
You know, sometimes I really wish that the ghost would do that. I go over there with the utmost pono. Um, we had the Travel Channel come out over here, and a show called Legends of, and they were cool. I hung out with them, I talked to them. The people I worked with were fine. The producers edited things to change the story. Now, when I tell the story, the ghosts are listening to it. I
Right,
gotta tell the truth,
right,
right? And if what I hear it as the truth isn't the truth, they will tell me, right?
right.
And so when they came over and they just recorded their own version and turned it into this and that and faked evidence for entertainment and all of that stuff too, I'm over there like, oh, bro, yeah, let's go. These guys gonna get it.
Yeah.
But how the spirits retaliated was they simply left.
Oh, yeah.
There was nothing. There was no energy at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just packed up and left. And I'm like, bro, just haunt them or something. Go give them a little shove. You know what I mean? Go boo in their ear, blow a
Yeah.
conch shell or something. Come on. But then they do that and then they record it. Oh, like
Right.
that.
Yeah. And they're like, we got something even better than this.
Yeah.
So Janet is asking, do your grandchildren have the gift too?
I don't have grandchildren. I'm only 41 years old. My daughter has a gift. She can hear them. My son probably does too, and my other son, my 19-year-old probably does, but he's raised very strongly Christian,
Oh, yeah.
so I respect that.
Yeah.
My youngest is 5, and he is an old man trapped in a 5-year-old body. So I'm waiting to see what to see from him. But like, it was really cool. My daughter, she went to Hawaiian immersion, so she went to elementary school speaking Hawaiian in her class, and
Oh,
only
nice.
Hawaiian. And we went to Ulupo Heiau, an ancient Hawaiian temple, dates back over 1,000 years ago. It was built. We went there nighttime with some friends. One of our friends was this girl, Jerea, who was 1 year older than my daughter. We're walking around the Heiau. My daughter hears somebody talking to her in Hawaiian in her ear.
Mm.
Jerea hears a person talking to her in English, the same thing, at the same time. That was cool.
That's very cool. Yeah. That is pretty awesome. Yeah. Well, we're probably at a good time to start wrapping it up. We've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. So it went right on by like normal.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to share with us before we go?
I don't know. There's a lot. As I said, I could talk a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're coming back on the show again another time. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's not a problem. So, so I guess we have another question. Jan says, do you take them with you on investigations?
If they want to go, my
Yeah.
daughter went with me this last Friday, and the place I went to was very scary. Paradise Park. That place. That's where I met the God of War and stuff. And it was just that place. I watched people get possessed.
Hmm.
That place, we have a really scary picture of something demonic, like a picture that is what chokes people and possesses them and all of that stuff. So we went there and we had things over there. Yeah, she was there. She was fine. She's not scared at all, which is what I love. You know what I mean? It's pitch black. You got things throwing rocks at us out of the bushes. You know what I mean? And I'm like, are you there? You hear something walking around the bushes and the trees, and it's like, okay, yeah, something's here. She's not scared.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, we got people saying thank you. Debbie saying great show. Glad to see
Hey,
you
Debbie,
on
how's
here.
it?
Rosie's saying good to see you guys on here. Great show as always. Nikki saying, thank you, Joe. Thank you for sharing about your culture. Wonderful. I appreciate you coming on here as well, as always. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
definitely going to be a return guest. We know this. So that's a no-brainer. But yeah, so other than that, do me a favor, go enjoy your family. Looks like you got a lot of stuff still going on in the background. I do thank you for coming on. I know that you were able to take today off, so I was really happy to be able to get you on here. Debbie, aloha, thank you. Jolene's saying
aloha.
great show. And one last time, I want to throw this up: Hawaiian Hauntings right there, ran by Joe. www.facebook.com, Hawaiian.hauntings. Go out there, like, follow, share. Make sure you follow him. He is a great storyteller. If you have not had the chance to go listen to his story times, it's fantastic. You'll really enjoy it. Other than that, Joe, I will be talking to you soon.
Yep.
We got to start making plans when I'm out there in less than 2 months. Yes.
For sure, bro.
But again, thank you for being on the show. Much appreciated. And
No problem. Pleasure.
I will be talking to you again soon.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Aloha. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Aloha.
All right, everyone. That's my show. I do have on a Thursday night show again. Last Thursday, I had on the first half of the Paranormal Existence Research Society, or PERS, and we had about 7 people on there. This Thursday, the 22nd, I'm going to have the other half on as well, and we'll be talking a lot about what they do and who they are and everything else. So hopefully you'll come out and meet the team. This is a team that Nikki and I are actually part of as well. We're kind of the Midwest chapter of this team. Ultimately ran by Bill Slevin, who's a fantastic guy out of Florida. And hopefully you'll come meet everybody. It's going to be a 7 o'clock show, so it's an out-of-cycle show on Thursday night, 22nd. But then the following Monday, hold on, because I don't remember anything. You guys should be used to this by now. I always have to grab my phone to figure out who's coming on. Let me take a look who's coming on. 26th of June is Marty Argentino. She'll be coming on my show. So that'll be fantastic. The Nona Boss. So you guys will be able to come out and meet her. And if you haven't heard her before, it'll be a great show next Monday as well with Marty. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come out and see us next Monday, 7 p.m. But first, check us out on the 22nd at 7 p.m. right here, where we have on the PERS group. Other than that, have a great night. Enjoy your week. I will see you in a couple of days, like I said, Thursday. And I will talk to you all soon. So much love. Thank you very much. And